It's being brought to you by your favorite Allstate insurance agent, Merlin Hildrich. If you need any kind of insurance, call this number 843-0811. Merlin Hildrich, your independent Allstate insurance agent. She's located at 730 Britton Road in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Not only that, Merlin would like to take this opportunity to thank you for making her the number one Allstate insurance agent in this area. There will be a 40-year class reunion on November the 29th at the Clarion Hotel. It's a Dungy School reunion, and for further information, call Doris Jean Luster at 769-8391 or Lily Ruth Hastings Buckner at 427-1513. It happened at last. Myrtles Dykeman is in Oklahoma City. He will be installed or placed in the Cowboy Hall of Fame tomorrow. But there are a lot of activities that are going on today, according to Mr. Bates. He will have breakfast here. After breakfast, there will be a parade. Oh, what a parade with Myrtles Dykeman. How many of you really remember here? Myrtles made history in 1972 when he won the bull riding competition in the Cheyenne Frontier Rodeo. He paved the way. He was really the Jackie Robinson of radio. He gave blacks an opportunity to compete in rodeos, both local, regional, and national. He now lives in Houston, Texas, and part-time in Houston and part-time in Crockett, Texas. And there's a hat that you've got to see. It's made by the American Hat Company in Conroe, Texas. And he goes around with that big hat on. Not only that, but he encourages young people to stay in school. Now, those of you in Oklahoma City, I would like for you to join Mr. Bates and others in that parade this morning at 10 o'clock. That's the Myrtles Dykeman Parade. If further information is needed, I would ask Mr. Bates to call me at 672-1220. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have some good news for you. Tomorrow is Men's Day at Prospect Baptist Church, 2809 North, Missouri. The theme is Godly Men, Keep It Simple. Reverend, congratulations to Reverend C.C. Cooper and the men of that church, and we know that will be a big day because you will make it so. The Greater Bethel Baptist Church will celebrate its 36th anniversary. Mount Olive Baptist Church will be celebrating their 87th homecoming and auxiliary day on October the 25th, 1997. There will be a special reception in that lovely A.G. Woodbury's Reception Hall. Antioch Institutional Baptist Church has a new minister. He is Reverend Deborah R. Spriggs. He will be installed tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Reverend Glenn Woodbury will conduct the installation services, and Reverend DeWitt Nash will give the charge. There's also a new pastor out there in Jones, Oklahoma, Reverend Carl Newton, Sr. He will be installed as the pastor of the Salem Baptist Church in Jones, Oklahoma, and that message will be delivered by Reverend Raymond one day. This portion of our program is brought to you by Gates Barbershop, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King. It's not too late for you to get that haircut where you can participate in the parade or where you can go down to Oklahoma University to that big game today between Oklahoma University and Baylor University. I would like to thank all of you that will be going today as my guest. I will have 100 guests at that big game. And incidentally, I have 5 tickets that if you would like to go to the game, call me at 672-1220 and I'll be happy to give you a ticket. Dr. A.L. Dial is located at 934 Northeast 8th Street in Oklahoma City. Al Dial has been carrying on for his father. His father was in an automobile accident, but I'm happy to report that he's doing fine. His telephone number is 235-0536. Be sure and call him for that appointment, that special appointment. Chancellor Dinners is located at 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City. It's a preschool and nursery. And if you want your child well trained, I ask you to see Mrs. Gloria Matthews. The telephone number is 424-4656. And be sure and tell her you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. I've been telling you for weeks about that almost going out of business sale that's conducted at Discount Carpet and Furniture Company, 501 Northwest 23rd Street. The telephone number is 525-6700, and you will have the opportunity to go get you the kind of furniture that you want. They have mattresses, and they specialize in commercial jobs. They will put carpet on your floor. They have done churches all over Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. They give a 10% discount to all senior citizens. So you want to be all dressed up in your African outfits? Well, let me tell you about Gideon's 300 store. Located at 6006 South Western here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That's on 59th and Western. Gideon 300 store. They have all kind of African clothes, African food. If you love African food, you ought to taste the African yam. And that yam is out of sight if you have the African know-how on how to cook it. Today is a very special day for me because it's another day. I get up every morning and I just thank God for this day. I go out to Lake Clara and look at those fish, and those fish are still swimming in Lake Clara. How can I say thank you to the students at Martin Luther King Elementary School for giving me the opportunity to speak to them last week? The plaque that you gave me and that beautiful rose shall always be a very important part of my history. And I would certainly like to thank the Nail and the young man that escorted me on the stage. It was quite an interesting experience. This is the Clara Luper radio show. KTLV in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 672-1220. Mrs. Lady Ruth Hunter announces that there will be a special meeting of the Amigos Club today at 6 o'clock at Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue. A special get-together for all of the members of the Shepherds, the Halls, the Hendersons, the Rivers, and the Overstreet's family, according to Ollie Dotson. There will be a special meeting on Thursday at 6 o'clock, and all of you that are members of that family are expected to be present. The Soul Bazaar will be held in Oklahoma City on May 15th and 16th. Many of you out there remember our first Soul Bazaar, which was in 1970. You were there. Soul Bazaar 1. Now we are up to Soul Bazaar 98. And today I want you to get your pencils out because I want to tell you what we are going to do. I am so excited about the Soul Bazaar. I'm excited about the fact that through the years we have given you opportunities to participate, whether you were participating in the talent part of it, maybe you were exhibiting your products, maybe you were a part of the gospel singing, or maybe you were a part of the queens and the kings and what have you. But after all, you were part of the Soul Bazaar. So many times as we travel down life's highway, we stop and we say, what can we do? How do I want to be remembered? Do I want to be remembered by all of the mistakes that I have made? And I have made so many mistakes, it's unbelievable. But is that what I want you to remember me by? No. I want you to remember me because I'm going to bring you news about what we can do together. I am now talking to the most intelligent radio audience in Oklahoma City. You are so intelligent that you understand what we are talking about. When I told you that we wanted to build a Black History Monument, you responded by the hundreds. When I told you we wanted a Black History Wall where we could trace the history of Black people from 1619 to the present day, and you responded. I told you that we were going to put the names and the ages of those people that were killed in the bomb on April 19th, 1995, and you responded. And I told you that we were putting the names of all that have made contributions on that vacant spot that is Freedom Center, and you are financing it. I want to thank you. And I want to tell you that our company is working on those names, and they will be up soon. But then as you grow older, you begin to look around and see, what can I do? This is the main thing. What can I do to make a difference in the lives of people? What can I do? And thinking on that order, the committee of Soul Bazaar in 99 has gotten together and they have decided what they will do this year. And they will do it because you, the most intelligent radio audience, will help them to do it. What is it? Okay, now I'm going to tell you, and I want you to do what my grandparents did. My grandparents and my great-grandparents didn't have any telephones, they didn't have any email, and they didn't have these cellular telephones. They had what was known as the grapevine. I heard it on the grapevine. Well, on the grapevine, using that as a telephone system today, I ask you to join me in this crusade. I just want to see what we can do together. You remember when there was segregation in public accommodations? You remember how from 1958 to 1964, and then we came back in 68, eliminating segregation. You remember how we did it together. Now we can do this together. As I look through the pages of history today, I'm finding that many of us are not thinking about the future. And this is the whole gist of this program today, talking about the future. So with the Soul Bazaar, which will be May 15th to 16th at the Mirrored Convention Center, we are going to make history because we are going to get involved in a program that will live far after we are resting in yonder's cemetery. And what we are going to do, we are going to join hands with an organization that has been working to preserve lives. We are going to be part of the organ and tissue donation program. And in order to truly understand that today, I've invited some people here to share this program with me. How are you today, Reverend Turner?
Just fine, thank you.
And how are you today, one of my own? I am so proud of this young man. It is unbelievable how proud I am of him. And what is your name, sir?
My name is Al Moore, Miss Luper.
Al Moore, I always call you my son. However, I know your parents, they are very beautiful people,
Yes.
so well. But I've seen you grow up. I have seen you grow up, and I am so proud of you. Now, Reverend Turner, I've just told my radio audience that we were going to become involved as a Soul Bazaar with the Oklahoma Organ Sharing Network. Will you tell me about that?
The Oklahoma Organ Sharing Network is the organ procurement agency for the state of Oklahoma. We're responsible for educating the public, for coordinating the organ donation process, and thereby saving lives through transplantation.
Well, that's your purpose.
That's our purpose.
How successful have you been?
Well, that's a difficult question. Sometimes we've been very successful. In recent months, though, the donation rate for some reason has fallen off, and as a result, more people than ever are dying.
Okay, now you say it's fallen off. The purpose of this program today is to increase the donors.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the purpose of it, and that's what we're going to achieve. And we have set a goal of 500 donors that will be available in case of death. Now, let's make that clear, because a lot of people think that somebody will look at you and say, oh, you have some beautiful eyes. I want those eyes. But explain the donor program to us.
Okay, organ donation takes place, of course, at the time of death. When a person dies, tragically, generally, under circumstances that allow the possibility of donation, someone will visit with that person's family in the hospital and give them the options as to whether they would like to donate and save lives. Every 18 minutes in the United States, a new name is added to the National Transplant List. And today, while we're going about our business, 10 or 12 people will die who have nothing wrong except for one organ system that's gone bad. They have hopes and dreams like all of the rest of us. Just as a result of genetics or some other reason, their lives are threatened, and they're waiting for someone to donate. And unless we each do our part, lives will continue to be lost.
All right, now you are saying that every 18 minutes someone is added to the waiting list.
That's correct.
Well, I know one thing that I have been thinking about this very seriously, along with my committee in the Soul Bazaar, and we really want to be a part of anything that will advance the cause of humanity. Now, what kind of support are you looking for?
Well, we encourage people to do two things. Number one, to educate themselves about transplantation and donation, the need, because I firmly believe that if people understand, people will want to participate. Our biggest problem is lack of knowledge. And once you've made your decision in regard to this, the other key important thing is to share that decision with your family. Because unless they know your decision, they won't know what to say if the time should ever come when they're faced with the question about donation.
When I die, I don't need my eyes and my kidneys and a lot of other things. That means that I can donate it to someone else and they will live after I have died.
That's correct.
So you don't look at me and say, okay, you got a good kidney, I want that kidney, I want that liver, or heart, or what have you.
No, we don't. And I'll tell you something else. We don't sit around every day hoping people will die either. But we do know that people will die. And we hope that when tragedy strikes, people will then make a decision to save lives so that other people don't have to die.
Okay, so let me get it straight because I want my people to understand it. So when we pass it on the grapevine telephone system, everybody will understand. You aren't after people that are alive. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You're only saying to people that will die of natural causes or accidents, why don't you do something to help someone else live?
Absolutely. It's really of no cost to me. When I'm finished with this body, if my kidneys can help someone else, if my heart can help someone else, by God's grace, I would like that to happen. Now, I'll admit, I plan to wear this body out. You know, none of us plan to die before our time. And if life goes according to my plan, I'm going to be so old when I die, nobody's going to want anything that I have. But if life doesn't work that way, if my eyes can help someone see, I want them to have them. If my heart can help someone else live, if my liver and kidneys can help someone, by God's grace, that's what I want to happen.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this part of the program is being brought to you by Hometown, located on 23rd and Martin Luther King in Oklahoma City, open 24 hours for your convenience. We are making it possible today for you to become educated in organ transplants. Calvin is all smile, and I'm so glad that he is here today. Now, it's easy to talk about transplants. But one thing that I want you to be aware of is the fact that you can help us carry this message. Now, it's no use of talking to one or two or three. Let's do it just like my great-grandparents did it. They used the transplant system. Calvin, who do we have on the telephone?
Mom, we don't have anyone on the line just yet. I'm certain everyone is like I'm doing. We're just sitting there, we're listening, and we're trying to make sure that we absorb all of the information that's being dispersed here. But as I was listening over there, I got to thinking, I said, now, wait a minute now. The Oklahoma driver's license, on the driver's license form, you can mark on there if you want to be a donor. And I know that people, when they renew their license or when they apply for a license, can do that. And I'm just wondering how long that program has been in effect and if that's been any help to the program that we're talking about today.
That program has been in effect for a number of years. Actually, at one time, there was a donor card on the back of the license, but that has been replaced by a small checkbox on the front. The value of that checkbox is that it lets your family know what your wishes are. It helps them make their decision. It really isn't a legal document. It takes more than checking that box. But if you check that box and then let your family know your decision, then they'll know what to do.
I'm very proud of Calvin. You've checked that. I'm proud of him.
Well, my experiences in life have been very varied, and I know the importance of it. And I've been on donor since the program first initiated. But then the question that I still have is that, and sometimes it comes up. I say, now, how will they know that my body is totally gone before they start taking out the parts to donate? And that's where I think the family comes in, isn't it? Because you have to wait until you're totally pronounced dead, and then your organs are used.
And that's a matter of concern. A lot of people ask that question. The way the system works is that a patient is pronounced dead by his or her attending physician, their doctor. And that doctor isn't involved with transplantation at all. The organ sharing network doesn't become involved until the doctor has said, this patient is dead. At that point, then, representatives from the organ sharing network will meet with the family and question them in regard to their decision, explain to them the options about donation, and ask if they'd like to donate. But the patient is taken care of by his or her physician, and that doctor has nothing to do with transplantation.
As we talk about this, it's easy to talk about it from a distance. But I want you to hear the story of a young man that's always been close to my heart. I really call him my son. I am so proud of this young man. And Mr. Moore, will you tell my radio audience your story as I have heard you tell it before? It's all yours.
Thank you, Miss Luper. My story is that I am a living testimony of what God can do for you and what he can do for me. My problems began in 1973. And at that time, I thought that I wouldn't have very long to live, but the prospects of my life now are just as good as anyone else prospects, because 4 years ago on Thanksgiving Day, I received a kidney from a 15-year-old. And I would just like to publicly thank that family for having the insight and foresight and the ability to let go of their child who was killed in an automobile accident so that I may live and be here today and carry on a normal life.
All right, what was your life like before you had your transplant?
Immediately before my transplant, I was on hemodialysis for 3 to 5 hours a day, 3 days a week. I had to go into the VA medical center and be attached to a kidney machine for that time.
For what time? I don't understand.
Well, what we have available is some technology that can cleanse the blood. What you have to do is have 2 needles inserted into your veins in your body, and the kidney dialysis machine will virtually cleanse your blood. What this does is this removes all the waste system, which is commonly called urine from your body. But it takes quite a process between 3 and 5 hours to do that.
And you did that for how long?
I did that for 12 years.
For 12 years, how many times a week?
3 times a week.
Just a minute now, Mr. Moore. You are saying that you were on a kidney machine for 3 times a week for 12 years.
That's right. Not all of it was on a kidney machine. Part of the time I did it at home by changing bags of fluid myself. But for 12 years I was on dialysis.
Okay, how did you hear about the kidney transplant?
Well, I heard about it through my own physician, my own dialysis physician. He encouraged me to go on the transplant list because my body was deteriorating. I was losing accesses for the kidney dialysis machine. So he encouraged me to go on the transplant list. And what that would enable me to do would be wait until such a time until a kidney that would match my own kidney, my own body, would be accepted to that kidney, would accept that kidney. And at that time, when I received the call that I had one waiting for me, then I went into the hospital and received the transplant.
How long did you have to wait before you got that information?
Not long. It was a matter of maybe 18 months.
18 months, and that's not long.
That's not long. Some people never get one. But I felt like it was a privilege for me to be able to go through the kidney dialysis process, because what that did for me, that prepared me for this day, for when I can sit here and knowing what it takes to go through kidney dialysis, be able to make an appeal to others that they may be able to give a gift of life.
We have someone on the line. Carol is on the line. Just a minute. Carol, how are you? How are you this morning, Carol? Hello? Hello? Carol? Carol is on the line. And Carol, just hold it for me a minute because we want to hear from you. Our public, most intelligent public in the world. Carol, if things aren't right, you can call us back. Carol, we are waiting on you. Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Luper?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we are together.
Okay, somehow I got a dial tone, but I thought this was so important I needed to call back.
Turn your radio down.
Well, I'll turn it off
Oh,
because
that's a
it's
good
down.
idea. That's a good idea. Okay. Okay, Carol.
Okay, Mrs. Luper, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm fine. Thanking God that I have the opportunity to send out information to all of my constituents.
Well, I was listening to your show this morning, and as a registered nurse here in the Oklahoma City area, we have been trying to get that message out through our patients, through our clients, through the school system when I talk to children, and to their parents. There is such a need for us to be donors. The public realizes that there is a need for all of us to be donors, but sometimes we need to target our audience, our Afro-American audience, and let us know that our donations are badly needed. And so I am so grateful that you're having this show this morning to get that information out to our public, especially our Afro-Americans who need to know this, who need to know that their donations are badly needed.
All right, now, Carol, you say you are a registered nurse?
Yes, I am, Mrs. Luper.
Congratulations to you. I remember you in the sit-in movement. And my kids grew up and become such professionals until I try so hard to be humble, but with all these registered nurses and doctors and entrepreneurs and something, it's very difficult, but I am. Okay, now, Carol, you are making an appeal to those of us that need organs to do what? How would you do it?
What my appeal is to get the information out there to the public, especially, like I said, our Afro-American public, to let them know that their donations are badly needed. Badly needed. I won't go on. Mr. Moore spoke about his donation, and I had to turn my radio down, so I didn't get a chance to hear all of what he said. But I do know people personally who have received donations, and they are so grateful to know that there was an organ there for them when they so badly needed it. But there is still such a tremendous need.
Well, Mr. Moore is here, and he doesn't mind repeating what he told us. Would you tell Carol and some of the other radio audience that might have missed it what you told us?
Sure. What I just said was, first of all, I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to receive a kidney, and I now realize why I went through 12 years of dialysis to prepare me for this day, so that I can tell you firsthand of how it was, going through dialysis, and I can give an appeal to Oklahoma City. All you have to do is fill out a donor's card. If you would like to come by my place of business, Lamore Beauty Supply, 1736 Northeast 23rd, I can give you that card. And be sure to let your family know about it so that they can know what to do at the appropriate time. But so many people can live normal lives just as I'm doing right now with the donation, with the gift of life. And there are so many different organs that can be donated, and organs, skins, eyes, whatever. But I'm making an appeal now to everyone within the listening range now to consider being an organ donor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Moore. I try to spread that information among my students. I am now working as a school nurse in the Oklahoma City Public School System, and I try to put out as much information about becoming a donor. And there's a wonderful poster that Michael Jordan's picture is featured on, and he's talking about being a donor. And I think the message can reach people if it is put out in a manner in which they understand the message. And I think children understand basketball and they understand Michael Jordan. And I'm not plugging Michael Jordan, but that is the one post. As far as I know, Mrs. Luper, they try to match up the kidney in every way that they can. And there are a lot of criteria for matching of kidneys. So I would not try.
But it isn't a color thing, right?
No, it's not a color
No,
thing.
it is not.
The race has nothing to do with it. The only question of race is the race to get these organs in. There are other criteria that are concerned about the matching. You have to match up, but this is medical technology, and the people that are over the transplants, have all that under control. But let's just get on. Let's get out on the track, and we're gonna race to get all these organs in, so that we can have people living normal lives, just as myself. And if you don't believe me, just come by, my store and look at me. I'm a miracle.
You are a miracle. You're
I am a
looking
miracle.
good.
Thank
You
you.
are looking good. You've always been a miracle, though. You are looking good.
Thank you, Miss Lou.
Kidneys are matched to recipients by a computer, and I can assure you the computer is colorblind. It matches on other characteristics, but race is not one of them.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, where we had a racial problem. I lived in Hoffman, went to school in Grayson, and I'm glad that this transplant transpasses all races. And I need some donor cards because I know my constituents are going to want to donate some. Where can I get some? I need a stack of them. We're going to have 500 donor cards filled out before the Soul Bazaar. And during the Soul Bazaar, you will have a booth there, and people can come in and sign up.
Well, the Oklahoma Organ Sharing Network has lots of donor cards.
Wait, get me some cards.
I'll
me
get
some
you a
cards.
bunch of them.
Carol? Okay, Carol, thank you so very kindly. I do appreciate your being here. You may call me at 672-1220, and I know you are with me. Yes. What are the exact steps needed to become a donor?
Well, really, one has to make a decision and share that decision with your family. You can fill out a donor card, you can check your driver's license, but your family will be asked upon your death about donation.
Okay.
And it will be their decision that
Okay, but you have
matters.
to sign that card. Now, we are going to have some cards at the Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King, and we have some down where?
At Labor Beauty Supply, 1736 Northeast 23rd. Go by right now.
And you have some?
And if you want information or donor cards, you can call the Oklahoma Organ Sharing Network at 840-5551, and we'll provide those for you.
And you may call Freedom Center 424-2384, 427-2384, 424-3949, or you may call
Lamore Beauty Supply, 427-6571.
Now, I want you, really, I told you to call me, but I don't want you to call me. I want you to bring your handsome selves and your beautiful selves up to Freedom Center and sign those cards, because we want to have 500 cards ready to go by May 15th and 16th. Now, I know you that's on my grapevine line. I know you will get the message across. This portion of our program is being brought to you by Compassionate Heart Incorporated, located at 301 South Bryant Street, Suite A600 in Edmond, Oklahoma. The Compassionate Heart Incorporated, 301 South Bryant. You know, when we start thinking about giving, and these are people that will give your relatives, your friends, the best of care. All you have to do is call 844-4000. Clara Luper. My telephone out here is 672-1220, and I appreciate your calling. And if the lines are busy, just call again, because we want to be part of anything that will help people. Wouldn't it be something if we would live like Methuselah, just live so many years and die without helping anybody? If I can help somebody as I travel along life's highway, then my living will not be in vain. And when we're talking about donors, we aren't talking about your dying. We don't want you to die, because I want you to be well and jumping so you can be at the Soul Bazaar. But if by fate you don't make it in, I want you to be sure to leave something so people can understand. The Soul Bazaar is business, education, economic development, cultural exchange, health, job fair, human relations, and entertainment. It is a minority-sponsored trade and industry show. It brings people of all races, creeds, and colors together for a common cause. This year, the Soul Bazaar will join the Oklahoma Organ Sharing Network in their organ and tissue donation program. Those of you that would like to sign up on the committee to help us see to it that this will be the best, I want you to let me know. One of the first calls that we have gotten is from Anna Slaughter, who has had training in nursing and who has done a terrific job, and she says she wants to be on the committee. Those of you that would like to be on this committee to help us get the news around, you may call me at 672-1220, and as you call in, I will let the world know that you are on our team. And speaking of being on our team, we've got to think about more than ourselves. Somebody say, Clara, you got so many friends, and why do you have so many friends? I said, you're asking me the wrong question. You should be asking, why don't you have so many friends? That's the question you should ask. I don't know why you don't have a lot of friends, and maybe that's not my business, but you can't go around this world by yourself. Hello, this is Clara Luper.
You one of the most prosperous ladies in the world.
Oh,
and you one of the most blessed women in the world. I don't care what nobody said about it. This is your friend. This is Reverend Butler.
Yes, Reverend Butler.
I don't want to write this song for you, but I got to do it right.
Reverend Butler, don't ever tell me you're going to do something unless you're going to do it.
Yes, ma'am. But I don't want to sing you no junk. I want to do it right because your last name is Luper.
Okay, then. Well, thank you so very kind. Are you going to be on my team in this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, talk to me. Tell me about it.
Yes, ma'am. Anything that you need me to do, I will commit to do it to try to help out.
Okay, I'll let my specialist here tell you. What would you tell Reverend Butler? And he is some butler.
I would suggest that the most important thing that he can do is share this with his congregation.
Yeah.
You know, in times of crisis, people go to their pastor. They look to their pastor for advice. And if their pastor is uncertain about these things, then they're going to be uncertain. But if their pastor is certain, if he believes that God's will is to save lives and gives that strong message, then his congregation will follow right along and lives will be saved.
That's right. I concur with that. You have to be a doer, not a hearer.
Okay, I want you to come by the office and be sure and sign up.
Yes, ma'am. I will do that.
And bring your friends and relatives and all with. Let us show people that we're concerned with more things than popcorn and peanut butter. Okay?
I love you and thank you so much.
And thank you for loving me.
God bless
you.
Okay,
bye-bye.
All right.
I told you I had the most intelligent radio audience, and somebody say, Clara, you have so many friends. I said, why don't you have some? I tell you why, because you haven't been friendly. And I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and my parents, who were uneducated, taught us to speak to everybody and be nice to everybody. What you mean by being nice? Don't you ever pass by somebody without saying excuse me and thank you, and don't you ever. You can't use any profanity. And I was at Martin Luther King, and I asked the kids to join my club, and I was so proud of the people down in Enid that are members of my club. Now, to join my club, you have to read books, You can't curse, you can't fight, and you better not think about taking any drugs, and you can't drink whiskey and all of that to be in my club now. You ask me about my cards. I have so many members in my club until I don't have the financial background to furnish cards for all of them. Now, when we talk about transplant, God transplanted. Didn't he take a rib from Adam's and make Eve?
He sure did.
Oh, wonderful. And then in Ezekiel, they talk about the valley of what kind of bones?
Those dry bones.
Dry bones. These bones shall live again. Well, once again, we are making an appeal today, and I want to know where you stand. Are you on our team? Are you going to help us make Soul Bazaar 98 one of the best Soul Bazaars in the United States? It will also be at that time that the AXO competition will be held. This year, once again, I'm repeating, the Soul Bazaar will join the Oklahoma Organ Sharing Network in their organ and tissue donation program. Now, I know you've been listening to me all over this state, and the first ones that called me, I do have some tickets to give you to the Oklahoma University's homecoming game. Let's see. How many tickets do I have left? So far, I think I've given out 97 tickets. If you sign a card, the questions are coming in. If you sign a card, how long is it good for? Does it expire just like your driver's license or whatever?
No.
Answer that for me, please.
It never expires unless you decide to tear it up. But if you make a decision, sign a card, that's good.
All right. Now, remember, you can sign up your card. We'll start. I know some of you want to sign up today. Do you have any cards with you?
You have cards at Lemoore Beauty Supply. Go by and see my staff. Go by and see my wife, Marilyn, at Lemoore Beauty Supply. Incidentally, my wife, Marilyn, has encouraged me to do this, and I thank her for that. And this has all been predestined, Miss Luper, for me. The dialysis that I went through, the being ill for all those many years. You've come to the hospital and visited me while I was in the hospital ill. This has all been predestined, and it has prepared me for this day, because this is my job, to let people know how valuable their organs can be after they are gone. So just go by Lemoore Beauty Supply at 1736 Northeast 23rd and pick up a donor card. All you have to do is fill that card out, put it in your purse or wallet, and carry it with you, and give your family a part of that card so that they will know what your wishes are in the event of your timely death. That's all that's necessary.
Do you have to put your financial status on that card?
Certainly not.
Certainly not.
Okay, hello? Hello? Okay, if you got to be patient with me, and if you don't get me this time, call back, because we are here and we want questions and things for you.
You know, Jesus said, Sister Luper, that I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. And I believe with all my heart that I serve a Lord who taught the sacredness of life. And when we make a decision for donating, I believe that we're doing what Jesus would have us to do, giving life to others.
But certainly he gave his life that we may live. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever, can you finish that for me?
Whosoever believe in him will not perish,
but have everlasting life.
All
Yes.
right. Say, can I go to heaven without part of my organs?
Absolutely. The Lord's going to create us anew, and he's not going to depend on these old worn-out bodies, let me tell you.
This is the Clara Luper radio show, and this part of the show is brought to you by Clara Luper. Those of you that have not purchased my book, the Black History Monument and Wall, it tells you briefly about the people that's on the wall and monument. You may do it. You may call me at 424-3949. Gates Barbershop is located at 2609 North Martin Luther King, and they are happy to join us in this. Mr. Gates will also serve as one of our committee members, and I'm looking to hear from all of you out there. You may call me at call me here, 672-1220. If the line is busy, keep calling. And today I would like to say thank you to all of you. I would like to thank Olive Wallace for the kind words that she always speaks about me. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate it. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Good morning, Clara Luper.
Good morning.
How's everything going?
Everything is going fine,
Well,
and
fine.
I know
I've been
you're on my team.
Oh, I've been hearing about the people who are interested in the donor program, and personally, I really think it is a wonderful program. And I heard yesterday, man, that if you were going to go to heaven without your organs, and do you remember that only this carcass, as the man told us yesterday, is put in the grave, and the soul that we have goes back to its maker. So you don't have to worry if you're going to be a donor. Don't worry about it. Just give up all of those organs to a person that can use it, and your soul is going to be gone before they get those organs anyway.
So I won't need my organs, nor will I need my beautiful Chrysler. That Chrysler is just 10 years old.
Oh, no,
I won't need all that.
You won't need
I won't need my
any
legs.
of that. No, ma'am, you will not need any of that. And so I just want to tell the people, I know several people who, some that's living today who has an organ. And I think that is really, really a wonderful program. And if you would like to be a donor, sign up, because you never know who you can help. Because when you're gone, you can't use that organ anyway. And I just want to say hello to the radio audience and tell them how wonderful they are and how thankful I am that they do listen to us on Saturday morning, because some of them I said, didn't hear you Saturday morning, so here I am.
That's right, because if you miss, I don't know what my audience will do.
Oh, well, they'll go on.
I don't know
I
about
have
that.
some people that listen all the time, and when I'm not there, when they see me, they said, I did not see you. But I still want to extend my heartfelt sympathy to all of the people who were funeralized on yesterday.
Yes.
There were 3 people that I knew personally.
What would you tell us about
that was funeralized on yesterday? Beg your pardon?
Would you tell us? Just call their names for me so I would
well, one was Wilburn Houston. I taught his 2 daughters, Rosalind and Valeria. So I just had to go to that funeral on yesterday. And then Mr. Frazier. All of these funerals was 11 o'clock, so I could only make 2. And I knew him because he worked down for Otwell. And then I went to Mr. Brown's funeral, and his wife was one of my club members. So I had to attend
That's L.C. Brown.
L.C. Brown's
right.
funeral. And all of those were wonderful, wonderful services, and the ministers gave us a lot of food for thought, something to think about in the days to come. So if you're not prepared out there to meet this person that Mrs. Luper was saying, can't you go to heaven, then I would advise you to be prepared. And only way you can do it is come through the church, a church. It doesn't matter which one. So if you do not have anything to do on tomorrow, just get up and go to church and see if it won't make a difference in your life, because it does make a difference. Thank you, Clara.
Thank you so very kindly. Bye-bye. Lady Ruth Hunter has announced that there will be a special meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at Freedom Center. Mrs. Rosetta Coleman will be hosting that meeting. Today I've given you information. I've told you about what we are going to do. Now the big question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? One of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Moses. When Moses got down to where he had to make a decision, water in front of him, the army behind him, and then he started maybe complaining, I don't know. But anyway, God told Moses to use what's in your hand. And maybe this is what this program is all about, to use what we have. Those of us that have skin and we want to donate it to someone, and I have some beautiful black skin, and I will put it on your white bodies or your black bodies. It wouldn't make any difference. Those of you that have organs, and you know for sure one thing you're going to do, and that is you're going to die. Clara Luper reporting, KTLV Radio in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Many of you have sent in requests for Calvin to sing. Now, this is really something. It's time for Calvin to sing. And Ellis Hildred is here today. Calvin, would you tell Ellis Hildred to come in, please? Ellis Hildred is here in the studio with us today. And he's outside. Well, I dare Ellis to be outside, but last week his daughter Alicia Hildred gave a big birthday dinner for him. Now it's time for the Calvin has a group of singers known as what's the name of your group?
Mom, the name of the group is the We Can't Singers, and I'm looking for another member now. You know, my members that were with me at the state fair, they packed up and they've gone on. So if you're out there and you know that you don't have the ability to carry a song very far, I invite you to become a member of my group. The auditions are very easy. You can call me at 424-3949 or 843-0811. And believe me, it doesn't take long to be able to tell that you can't sing. But I am seriously looking for some members to come in and to be a part of the group. But today is a very special day, Mom, because not only was it the week that we celebrated Ellis Hildred's birthday, but Josephine Manuel had a birthday.
Josephine had a birthday.
Diane Johnson had a birthday.
Diane Johnson.
So
Miss
to
Ford
those three
had a
people,
birthday.
Leola Ford, Mrs. Ford had a birthday. So I want all of you to know that I am looking for members, but I do have my trusty harmonica here if I get the right end right. And we're going to play this, and we know everyone is going to enjoy it. So sit back, relax, tell that neighbor, tell that friend, the Calvin's Figure, the We Can't Singers. The originator of the We Can't Singers going to sing a happy birthday song to Josephine Manuel, Diane Johnson, and Ellis Hildred. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, and may you have many, many more.
This is the Clara Luper radio show, and that was Calvin Luper with the We Can't Singers. Before I leave the air today, I would like to talk directly to you. You know, we've got to look at ourselves. We've got to look at ourselves and see what we can do to make a difference in the lives of people. Today is a day that we can do something for ourselves. And what you do just for yourself really does not count on that scoreboard of time. It's really what you do for others. So many times you call me and say, Clara, why do you fuss at me all the time? I'm not going to fuss at you if your house is clean. I'm not going to fuss at you if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now, Reverend Turner said that they were working through the churches. Well, I have always encouraged my audience to go to church, and they call me and say, Miss Luper, I went to church today, and I found out that they went to church as chicken. I said, we aren't communicating, and we need to communicate. Go to somebody's church. I don't care what church. You can come to mine. The Fifth Street Baptist Church elected a pastor to serve until they get another pastor, an interim pastor, Reverend Weekly, and boy, they did it by a overwhelming majority. They did. The people were so thrilled. And as you know, Reverend Elkins is leaving Fifth Street, and he will be his last Sunday will be the 2nd of November, and Reverend Weekly will serve until another pastor. Who knows what's going to happen? And don't you call me about being the pastor of Fifth Street Baptist Church, because I have my own business. I'm in the catfish business. And I would like to thank all of you that bought catfish from us out to Langston. I would like to thank you that bought gumbo from Maryland. And I would like to thank those of you that are getting ready to participate in Miss Black Oklahoma. And I would like to thank those of you that are going to participate in the Soul Bazaar. Now, I want you to use the grapevine telephone by telling everybody what you have heard today. This is not a plaything. And briefly, do you know the names of anybody else that's gotten transplants?
Yes. Vince Williams, yes, who was a player with the Tulsa University Golden Hurricane, a basketball player, had a heart transplant at a very young age.
Okay, do you know anyone else?
Right here in Oklahoma City, Patrick Fennell, who owns Innovations Beauty Salon on Classen, has received a kidney transplant.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and I want you to stay out of trouble. Don't you go killing anybody. Don't you go stealing. And if you want something, you get it, Calvin. I know you have something to say, and you better say it in a
Mom,
hurry.
I'm going to say it in a real big hurry because I want to congratulate a young man, one of the bass drummers for Star Spencer High School, that is now in Washington, D.C., representing our great state at the
Yes.
National Youth Conference, and our sports reporter. So, Brandon, keep up the good work. We're proud of you. Keep them grades up and keep the beat going there at the Star Spencer with the Star Spencer Bobcats.
I have a big story to tell you about a football player, a former football player of Oklahoma University. Stay tuned for next week. This is Clara Luper saying, stay out of trouble, and I do love you. Join me in the struggle. Bye-bye.